You know where these go? You don't? They go in the rack right there. Hey, what's going on? You're the new guy? Right. What's your name? Yeah, they call me Tater down here, and as far as you're concerned, I might as well be the CEO of this here prison kitchen. You ever worked in a prison kitchen before? You haven't. This is your first time. Well, allow me to welcome you to Hell Week. There's nothing funny about that. I wouldn't be laughing if I were you. Where's your hairnet at anyways? Yeah, you better get with the program real quick down here or you're not going to make it. You will not last. Especially if I have anything to do with it. When the trays come out of that machine, you make sure they're dry before they go on the rack. But it's going to be a while before you get to pulling trays out of the machine. Customary as it is, with you being the new guy, you're going to be right there in that tray slot, right behind you, catching those trays coming in from those inmates. They're not going to be caring about too much of getting beans all over you or getting you dirty. And in fact, some may even consider it a sport, trying to get as much that's left over on that tray on you that they can, just for a laugh. Still sure you want to work down here? Of course you are. Who wouldn't want to work down here? I'm sure you've heard the things, the little rumors about what it's like to work in a prison kitchen, but I can assure you, under my watch, there ain't gonna be nothing of the sort taking place. What'd you think? You were gonna come down here and be able to eat real well, maybe masturbate in the privacy of that prison kitchen bathroom? That's not gonna happen. And in fact, if I notice that you're away from that tray slot for any amount of time too long, I'm coming into that bathroom to see what all the fuss is about. See what's taking you so long. That's right. I don't take too kindly to new guys coming down here thinking that they're gonna take advantage of this situation. This isn't a free ride. There's not gonna be any extra chicken patties or any extra fried chicken or any extra baked chicken or anything like that. Not at first, at least. You gotta earn your stripes. And again, me, old Tater, as everybody down here calls me. I run this here kitchen. I've been in here for 30 years. 30 years. And I'm making a whopping 55 cents an hour. Do you know how long it took me to make that? The staff here, they trust me to keep this thing running like a well-oiled machine. And you wouldn't be the first guy that I've had to shit can and get up out of here if you start to acting up. There's not going to be no fighting. There ain't going to be no contraband exchanges. What you think, you about to be the mule down here? Turn around, let me look at you. Let me get a good look. Oh, it looks like you've got quite a bit of trunk space there. You ever suitcased anything before? I figured as much. Look down here. I don't want to be the one to... I'll be the one to tell you. You need to keep your head on a swivel. There's a lot of moving parts down here. And other guys, you may see them eating more than you, getting extras, eating whatever they want. Maybe even taking up extra liberties in that prison kitchen bathroom. But not for you. Not at first, at least. And in fact, it's going to be some time before you start earning any type of respect down here. First thing you got to do is survive Hell Week. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's not going to be a tray that comes through that slot that's not tossed with the momentum and trajectory to get shit all over you. Spotless. just the way I like. You remember what it was like coming to prison, right? When you were the new guy, the fish? Well, unbeknownst to you, everybody already knows there's a new guy working at the tray slot, especially considering what happened to the last guy working at the tray slot. I don't want to share this story with you to scare you or to alarm you, but you need to be made aware of what it's like when you first start off in a prison kitchen. Yeah, the last guy, he didn't last too long. I think it was 2 meals, not even 2 whole days. I don't think he lasted longer than until about lunchtime. And it was at lunchtime, if I can remember correctly. This just happened yesterday. Forgive me, my memory fails me at this point. 30 years. It's been a long, long ride. I only had 6 months when I first started this, back in the early 80s. But this guy was talking real jazzy out the side of his neck, and I poked him up real decent in his neck, and they gave me life. So guess it could have been worse. Could have ended up in a more badder place to serve time at. More badder. And hell, I get to run this Arby's type establishment, fine dining, prison cuisine. Have you had the beans here yet? They're fabulous. Of a prison kitchen here at this facility, this fine facility at that. But yeah, getting back to the guy that you're taking the place of, he didn't make it past lunchtime. Just a couple of days ago. It's starting to come back to me now. And yeah, these guys, I mean, they were making like a bukkake scene out of this guy. I mean, just da, 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 da. Trays just kept coming, pummeling him. Boom, boom, boom. Getting shot all up in his prison apron. This apron in this prison kitchen, this joint's like a bulletproof vest to a certain degree. If a guy comes to try to poke you up, it's not going to save you. But when it comes to those beans or that gravy, or that watered down paper mache-like prison cabbage, this here apron, hey, this thing's a lifesaver. It will protect you to a certain degree. Consider it sort of like a little force field. This guy was getting pummeled, every tray coming through. Not to mention shit all over him and every prisoner laughing in the process. And this guy was weak. He was really weak. You ever seen that movie G.I. Jane, when a guy rings the bell? Yeah, well, that's sort of what happened with this guy. He snapped. He couldn't take it anymore. This guy was covered with more nefarious substances than most of the chicks on the internet these days. I don't even know what the internet is, actually. Just something I heard in passing. I thought I would try to throw that in to try to relate to you a little bit. Anyways, the guy snapped. And he tried to reach through that chuck hole, which, you know, you're only going to be able to get about half of your body through there at the very most. And, well, that's what this guy did. He got halfway through that chuck hole in an effort to try to grab one of these little youngsters up who tossed their lunch tray right on him. Sweat meat salami sliding down his left cheek. And, yeah, he tried to grab the young boy up. But again, going through that chuck hole, that's a mistake. They've got doors at these establishments. A chuck hole is not meant for a grown man to try to go through. But this guy, he tried. And he didn't make it far. He made it probably about halfway. Couldn't even get both of his arms out. I think he had one arm out and the other arm was stuck. There's a lot of bad situations you can find yourself in while serving time. Getting caught with your pants down on the commode when the attack is on and somebody's trying to put the bing bong all over you. You ever seen a man get his ass kicked while on the shitter? You ever seen a man just sit there and take that because he didn't want to get up? I remember this one time I saw a guy get up, shit went everywhere, slip and slide like a children's water thing, whatever you call that. But anyways, this guy, he got caught in one of those situations you don't want to get caught in. Forget getting caught with your pants down. This guy got caught half in and half out of a prison kitchen chuck hole, trying to grab a guy, talking shit the entire time. I mean, this guy, most guys who are locked up, they're not the smartest. I mean, there are some geniuses here, some guys who probably were pilots out there in the real world, but this guy, he wasn't all that smart. Still talking shit, got one arm just flapping over his head like that, and yeah, they beat the dog shit out that guy hanging out that chuck hole. Couldn't do shit for him neither. I'm trying to pull him back, they're trying to pull him out. It was almost like a scene from that movie Jaws. Once they got a hold of this guy, it was curtains, closed curtains. Yeah, so you're taking his spot, and that's still a pretty trending story here around this compound. I'm surprised you hadn't heard about that. Oh, you had. You knew what you were getting into. Well, I do gotta hand it to you. It takes some guts to hear a story like that and still be willing to come do a job down here. I almost forgot to ask. How much time are you serving anyways? Okay. Well, the reason I ask is you can tell a lot about a guy, what they're going to be like, especially down in a place like this where temptation is pretty much limitless. You're going to see those chicken patties. You're going to see that baked chicken. You're going to see those prison cakes with the icings. You're going to see that staff dining food, and it's going to be quite the temptation. What are you locked up for? Drugs. Addiction. It's crazy how the addiction can flip on the inside. It might be the crystal meth shards while you're out there in the free world. But down here in the prison kitchen, it's all about that cake with the icing on it. That's right. There was one guy that I caught and I had to fire. I fire more people than the police do down here. Some people even refer to me as that, but that's not the case. I'm no correctional officer or no state trooper. I'm just doing my job. The job that they hired me to do, and they pay me that whopping 55 cents an hour to do. But there was this one guy. This was this was just a couple of weeks ago, if I can remember correctly, and the cake came out, the icing got put on it. We don't get the cake with the icing. That's going straight to staff side. You've heard about staff dining. Down here in the prison kitchen, it's a lot of unicorns, a lot of mythical features and food items and things that, well, just sound made up, make-believe to a certain degree, because you're never going to see them coming through a chow hall line. It's not going to be put on your tray as a prisoner, as an inmate, as a convict. But the cake came out, the icing got put on, and it was getting ready to be heading over to staff dining. When all of a sudden I noticed that half a sheet pan of that cake was missing. And so was little Jimmy. Little Jimmy was missing, and I knew where he was. I knew what he was locked up for. I asked him just like I asked you. He was locked up for the same thing, methamphetamine shards. And I don't even know what you guys see in that. Why would you want to be up for days talking to shadows? Shadow people. Craziest damn thing. I'm locked up for murder that I actually caught while I was incarcerated. How about that? But little Jimmy disappeared, and I knew he took that half a sheet pan of cake, and I knew where he was. He had the flag down, flag on the play. There's certain politics you're going to have to learn about in this kitchen as well, but we ain't got time for that right now. I need to get you prepared because it's about to be breakfast time. Them guys are going to be eating. They're going to be tossing them trays at you. I knew little Jimmy was in the bathroom. I kicked that door in like I was the feds. And no bullshit. Not only was Jimmy caught red-handed, with his hand in the cookie jar, so to speak. I mean, actually, literally. When he turned around, that cake icing was all over his face. Eating it like some sort of a zombie in a zombie apocalypse movie. Little Jimmy turned around so startled. He farted. He might have sharted, I'm not exactly sure. And I'm still trying to understand Something that I probably never will. I don't understand why his pants were down around his ankles at the same time. He was butt ball naked from the waist down, stuffing his face with that prison cake with the icing on it. Fired him right there on the spot. Little Jimmy, you've got to go. You're too weak to be in a position like this. Caught in a position like he was. Not exactly sure what he was doing in that bathroom. Like I said, there's a lot of temptation down here. Don't let it get the best of you. If you can survive Hell Week, which might last longer than a week, a few weeks, maybe even a couple of months, if you can survive getting pelted with bean trays and sweat meat, sliced prison loaf, for as long as it takes until another new guy is ready to come down here and take your spot, you'll move over to the sinks. And it only gets better from there. It really does. If you can survive and you can get past that tray slot, where guys are going to be trying to treat you like a bukkake scene, like some sort of an internet video. The internet. What's that all about anyways? I've heard about it. There's such a thing as a talk tick? A tickety talk? Like, what? I've heard there's prisoners at other prisons. Weird prisons. Creating choreographed dance videos for this internet mumbo jumbo. 30 years I've been down for it. The system sure has changed. It's not what it was before. No, it's not. Look, if you can survive and you can get beyond this tray slot, I give you my word. Tater tot. He doesn't give his word lightly, and that word carries a lot of weight. That if you do move over to those sinks, I'll tell you how I got the nickname Tater Tot, and I'll make sure you get the first taste of some perks. I'm not talking about the perk 30s, neither. I'm talking about the benefits that can bestow a fella. Bestow. Who understands what it means to stay in their own lane down in a place like this. I'll make sure you get that extra chicken patty. That's right. And you won't even have to tell on anybody to do it. I'll do the telling. Well, I'll do my job. Let's put it that way. Look, I can hear the prisoners. They're coming in now. Get ready, because it's about to get real. You make sure you keep up. You bang those trays. You don't take it personal, okay? They're going to call you all sorts of things outside of your name. Do your job. Earn that 17 cents an hour. You can do this. I believe in you. We'll talk after breakfast. Hey, good luck. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your eyes on a level playing field. Prepare for war.
If you hear me.